Hey everybody, it's Baer from Convince and Convert, live today with my friend, a very special guest, Simon Salt, who is a digital strategist and the CEO of Ink Slingers and the author of the brand new ebook, The Shorty Guide to Mobile Marketing. Simon, how are you, good sir?
I'm good, thanks, Jay.
So tell me about this book. You made it with the Amazon publishing system, which I know people have been talking about a lot. I haven't used it, but it sounds like it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I mean, I wanted to give it a go, as author and a digital person, try and figure out this new stuff. And I was really amazed. I actually wrote the book in Word because I'm a page counter, not a word counter, and that was easier for me. And then when it came to publishing, I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be hard. Because typically, if anybody's ever cut and pasted anything out of Word and tried to publish it on the web, Word brings over all of its own coding and it screws up your web page and is guaranteed not to work.
I've made the mistake of going from Word to WordPress a couple of times, and that's always a dangerous proposition.
Exactly. So you know the pain. And so I thought I was going to have to go through that same process of stripping stuff out and writing HTML. Actually, Amazon has a really very simple converting tool. You upload the document and it then allows you to preview what the book's going to look like in Kindle, Kindle Fire, Kindle Classic, or the black and white version, Kindle Color, the Kindle app for iPad, for iPhone, and for Android. So you can make the minor formatting adjustments, like if a page break kind of happens in the middle of a sentence or something. Yeah. I personally hate that. So, make those little adjustments, re-upload the file. I did that. It took me 4 attempts to just get it formatted so that across those 5 or 6 different devices, it looked readable and I was comfortable with the way the page breaks and the chapter breaks and the images lay out. And then it was done. It was a matter of then setting, pricing for foreign countries. What commission rate do you want to be on? They do 2. One is 70%, and the only con to that is that if a comparable book sells for less than your book continuously, Amazon reserves the right to drop the price of your book down to be a competitive price. But as I chose my book to go out at $4.99, I was comfortable that probably wasn't going to be an issue, and it hasn't been. Because most other books are retailing around the $19.99 mark. And then the other alternative is you can do 35%, and then you control the price. And then the 70%, what it gives you is the opportunity to offer it free for 5 days in any 30-day period.
Oh, interesting. So you could make it available. So you could give it away on your blog or at a keynote speech or something along those lines.
Exactly.
And is there a coupon code or something that makes that happen? Is that how they do it?
No, it's just a setting. You can change it for everybody. You just say, I'm going to give this away for 5 days and come get it. So if you want to do a sales booster and just have a whole bunch of new downloads, which of course, the benefit of that is it improves your rating on Amazon, so it bumps you up in the charts because suddenly it's free. Yeah,
absolutely. So I imagine, given how non-complex that is, and the fact that you could set that price at anything, even 0, presumably, that maybe this would even be something that companies could do, right? That companies want to put together an ebook and not just have it downloadable on their site, but actually put it in the Amazon store and make it viable for Kindle and other devices.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that where Amazon's going to go with this, I think what they're basically building is an iTunes for books. So just in the way you now do with people with podcasts and videocasts, and you use the right conversion tools, you can upload it to the iTunes store, and people can either buy it or get it for free, depending on what you think your content is worth. But yeah, absolutely, Amazon I think is definitely going that route and making it available to more publishers. And I know that for some people that will be an issue. Some people will not like that concept. But I think at the end of the day, what is true in the past is still true today, is that good content carries.
Right.
So sure, okay, people will say, well, that way anybody could be an author, anybody can have a book. Well, yeah, true, But if the content's no good,
yeah, no one's going to buy it or download it
out.
or read it. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was worth a heck of a lot more than $4.99. I will tell you that. I thought it was a really, really good read. It's called The Shorty Guide to Mobile Marketing. Are there other Shorty guides, or did you pick that name, or is that sort of a category? How does that work?
Yeah, so I picked the name. I in fact did the whole thing. I did the cover design.
Yeah.
I bought the ISBNs. Again, that was a very simple process. A tip there for people if they're looking to do that. You can buy one ISBN for $150, or you can buy 10 for $250.
Wow.
So buy the 10.
Yeah, now you're gonna resell them to your friends on Twitter. That's gonna be nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was really easy, and I am actually going to be doing a series of Shorty guides.
Great, love the name. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we both have full, actual books out, physical books.
Yep.
And I buy a lot of business books, and I'm an avid reader, but I know that a lot of people buy books with the intent of reading it all, and then get through the first 2, maybe 3 chapters, and then they put it down and, oh, there's another book, I should read that, and they forget to go back to that other book, or they might go back in a year. And I wanted to bring something out that was, on a mobile device, quick hit, just like you can read it and...
It's about, what, 75 pages, something like that?
Yeah.
It's a good length. I mean, we've been talking about that a lot. That even with conversations with my publisher, that the trend is towards shorter, right? People don't have huge blocks of time, and it's one of the reasons why we try and keep these interviews under half an hour. We do our Social Pros podcast under half an hour. I think the book under 100 pages is really the way to go, because one plane flight, right? It's one flight, you're done. It's one session, right? When you think about content consumption from a number of sessions perspective, and if you can keep it to one session, I think your consumption rate will go up considerably. So I think you're absolutely dead on. I think the Shorty Guide positioning is really good too. You've got tremendous amount of potential there to Shorty Guide to everything. So
exactly.
Nicely done.
Yeah. And that was exactly what I was thinking of when I thought of the format. It was the plane journey.
Yeah.
Could I put this on an iPad or a Kindle or an Android tablet and read it between A and B?
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to be able to do. And as a writing discipline, it was hard, because it's just like when you get up to speak, you think, I can do this in 45 minutes, and you look down, it's like, whoa, I just burnt through 35 minutes in the intro.
Yeah, I mean that's why TED Talks are so hard, right? I mean, to get it to boil it down to its essence is a lot harder than it appears, for sure.
Yeah, I did, and it was good. It was a good discipline to say, I've got to get this into 5 chapters, no more.
Yeah.
And I've got to take out the filler and the fluff and this is aside, or I'm just going to go off on this tangent for a little while because I'm interested in this. You got to really bring it back to what's the reader interested in? Why'd they pick this book up?
Yep. You do quite a bit of mobile consulting as well, and rightfully so, because you've written, as you mentioned, other books about mobile. Is this whole sort of, I want an app, make me an app, is that sort of the new version of make me a website that it used to be 10 or 12 years ago? It's like people want it, people want an app, they have no idea why they want an app, they just want one.
Yeah, exactly. It's the and to that point, it's the same as we should do social.
Right. Give me some of that Twitters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. People see it, they download them themselves on their phones, they see their kids downloading apps, and they're like, well, our business should have an app. Let's do that. Let's do that thing. We'll be on the cutting edge. And, what people forget about cutting edges is they're exactly that. They'll make you bleed if you handle them wrong.
Yeah.
And, that's the problem with it, is that, great, we're going to jump in here, but we have nothing to back that up. No mobile foundation whatsoever. Our website doesn't work on mobile. You can't buy product from us or order a service from us on a mobile device, but we're going to have an app. Great. I mean, that's just, it's actually a great way to kill the mobile engagement by jumping in there first.
So you're saying then that people should make their existing web content mobile friendly first and then build a dedicated app second?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I always teach people, or try and teach people, is audit first, look at what you've currently got on the web, and then look at, of that, what is going to be most helpful for a mobile reader, because not everything you've got on your site is necessarily appropriate to the mobile reader. Because what I try and get across to people is the difference between mobile and regular web is the moment of now.
Yeah.
You know, mobile is right here, right now. It's location aware, it's situation aware, it's time sensitive, it's real estate sensitive. You know, I could be looking at this on a 3-inch screen, I could be on a 10-inch screen, or anything in between. So, you know, you've really got to be aware of that. So not everything you have on your website is appropriate. Yeah. And then what that does is it should cause a good feedback loop, because now you say, well, okay, if the mobile reader doesn't need all this stuff, does the regular reader need all this stuff?
Yeah, nice. That's nice. I like that approach.
Out there, but is anybody reading it? Have we looked at our stats lately? Who's actually downloading these 300-page PDFs?
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day when I used to be a web strategy consultant and did a lot of information architecture and that kind of work, we used to say every page on your site needs to either answer a customer question, direct a customer to a page that answers a question, or not be on the site at all. Right? Because it's so there's no. The problem with web is that there's no net unit cost, right? Creating another page doesn't cost anybody anything, and so you get this site inflation. It's like, well, hell yeah, just put it on the site, and then you get companies who say, well, we want everything to be on the home page too, which creates its own sort of set of challenges. When you're doing that mobile audit, and obviously you can very easily look in your Google Analytics or any sort of analytics package and get a handle on percentage of mobile visits. Is there some sort of cutoff there that you say, you know what, if there's X amount of mobile traffic, we really need to pay attention to this? I almost think about it as how we used to think about browser design, right? Do we need to design for IE? What percentage of people are really using IE, right? So is there a number that you think about?
I do, but it's more about the object. So, okay, we're going to go mobile and we're going to do mobile web, but what is your goal with that mobile website? So sure, right now with your traditional, you might be driving some mobile traffic already, but what do you want to do with the mobile traffic particularly? Are you trying
from a behavior standpoint?
Yeah. So are you trying to push them, location and time sensitive coupons, for example? So you really want this content when they're shopping. So that's totally different to maybe browsing your entire catalog online. They're not going to do that.
Right.
Very few people are going to scroll through 300 pages of a catalog on a phone looking for that one thing. They tend to know what it is they're looking for, and so they won't be able to find that very quickly.
Yep.
So search is much more important on a mobile device than, say, on your website, because people will browse more, but they're not going to browse and click those little next page links that you've got that are 3 pixels big. They're not going to do that. They want to be able to type a nice big search, say, this is a product on your site I want, and that should come straight up, and then they can just buy it.
Great point. Great point.
So it's more behavior driven.
We're getting to the level of mobile penetration and constant mobile companionship, where we're going to have to start thinking about sites, quote unquote, as mobile first, and then web additive. Whereas how we've thought about it forever, including now, is here's my site. Now, what parts of that site, what reductive part of the site needs to be mobile friendly? And I think we're going to get to the point pretty quickly here where we think about the mobile experience as the primary experience, and the web experience is just extra goodies.
Absolutely. And not just mobile web, but it's actually mobile first within digital marketing across all screens. So it's how do I then extend what I'm providing on mobile, or how do I use mobile to extend what I'm providing on other screens? So that could be the desktop environment, but just as likely it could be television. One of the things that I found in a recent survey that we're just about to publish is that a large number of mobile users, one, they're using their mobile device while they watch TV, but they are impacted by TV ads, and it's that look, what we call that look down moment.
Sure.
So the ad finishes, they look back at their mobile device, and one of their first actions is to look for that product on their mobile device. So they're seeing the ad, and then they buy from their mobile device. So it's how do you extend that? And we've seen some good examples of that with things like Shazam being used in commercials.
Yeah. Yep.
You buy a 30-second commercial slot, use Shazam, and it links to a 3-minute video.
Yeah.
Which costs a fraction of a 30-minute TV slot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm alone in that unless I'm on a plane, the chances that I'm using an iPad without the TV on is almost never, right? It's right. such a second screen experience for me. What movie was she in before? You look it up on IMDb or I mean, exactly. It's just like all of that kind of stuff. It really is. It's sort of the DVD extras.
Yeah.
But in real time, and you're looking it up yourself. It's a really interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, and I think that's where marketers have to start thinking about mobile. It's not just the phone. It's not just at the point of check-in. It's that all-encompassing experience, as you say, where it's that constant partner. It's, people, unless they are deliberately, or I guess accidentally, disconnecting, they leave their phone in the cab, or they're going away, I'm unplugging, I'm getting away from everything electronic. They'll always have that screen with them.
Yeah.
And digital marketers need to take advantage of that knowledge that that person always has a screen with them.
How do you, and you talk about this a little bit in the book, but how do you think about mobile success metrics? So if somebody wants to delve into a mobile project and make their mobile site more friendly, maybe an app, etc. What kind of scoreboard do you use to say, that's working for you?
So one of the things I'm a big fan of is not ignoring traditional. So it's funny, every time we have a new platform come out, it happened with social, it's happening with mobile, everybody wants to reinvent the wheel in terms of the metrics. And at the end of the day, there's one metric that absolutely matters more than anything else, and that's the bottom line. So, if we're not increasing dollar value to the bottom line, then why are we doing it? That's always my first question.
Yep.
And then you work backwards from that. So what are we doing that activates towards that dollar value, that purchase point? So is it page views? Is it ad clicks? Is it, content consumption, etc. And then but build those out, but start at the end point. And the end point really should be the point of purchase.
And then walk back.
Yeah, and then walk backwards. But with mobile, recognize that the point of purchase is not necessarily the checkout. So we started using this term, the point of finger, because so many people are now comfortable buying on a mobile device. Mm-hmm. Whether they're using something like the Starbucks app and they just scan the code that the app produces from their order, or they're actually clicking buy in an app and buying a product, or they're in store and scanning the shelf edge label and then having that product delivered to them. We're starting to see well, they're not virtual stores, but they kind of are, in that the product on the shelf is just a box, or it may have a display version, but the store itself has no stock room. There is no stock.
You have a picture of a blue shirt, and then you can go on your phone, and there's 18 other colors of shirts, but they don't have to have them on a shelf.
Right, exactly. And especially with low-touch products like electronics, where you can just see it and you can play with it. Okay, this is the one I want. I scan the shelf edge label, I enter my credit.
Configure elsewhere.
Yeah, and I press buy, and it gets delivered to me. So it's a mix of the Amazon and in brick and mortar environment, but it's driving down costs because you need less staff, you need to hold less stock locally, so you can keep it all in one or two distribution centers. That's a great way, and I think honestly that's where retail is headed. For a lot of the big box stores, I think we'll see the decline of those real big box stores because, a lot of that in the big box store is actually stock environment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at what Redbox has done in the movie category. And you see, I think, already the precursor for that in airports, where you've got the Best Buy machine in a lot of airports, right, that has their top sellers and headphones, and you can get a PlayStation, whatever the mini one is, all that kind of stuff in the airport. And you think about if that was your retail environment, right, that it was it was a closet basically. It's funny, everything old is new again, right? There was a day, I grew up in a small town, and we had a J.C. Penney store, but it wasn't a full store because the town was too small. We had like a J.C. Penney closet basically, and what you could do is go to the tiny store, and then they actually had the catalog there. And you could actually flip through the catalog and talk to the lady and then order it, and then they would call you when it came in. Now, maybe I'm dating myself. I'm older than I look, but but that's sort of what we're coming back to that, right? Not because we have to, but because technology has enabled it.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, and in Japan, which I always look to because Asia Pacific tends to lead us in mobile side. They have grocery stores now in the subway stations that are literally just pictures on the wall.
You sort of take a picture at it and send me bananas kind of thing?
Yeah, you just scan the product you want and they deliver it to your apartment. Yeah. So, if you're on one of these long commutes, it can be home before you are.
Amazing.
You scan it on the way out to the office, and by the time you get home that night, there's your grocery shopping.
A lot of things that we've been talking about rely on audio or video or photography in a mobile experience. Where's your head at these days with SMS and text messaging? I kind of feel like, it is the only universally, not even universal, but nearly universal applicability. Almost everybody has a phone that can text now, certainly more so than people who have mobile web. But yet I feel like SMS still gets kind of a bad rap because it's not cool. It's not a QR code or any Shazam or anything else. How do you feel about that?
I'm still a huge advocate of SMS. SMS is to mobile what email is to the rest of digital marketing. And people tend to ignore it, but it's still the most prevalent and still the most the easiest way to get an activation. So I would definitely compare the two. SMS and email. Just in the email marketing is still the most successful way to get an activation. SMS is definitely the most successful way to get a mobile activation because, to your point, you can reach more people, it's cheaper, it's quicker, and people understand text, and they don't need sophisticated technology to use it. It's, it's very easy. The hard part with SMS is actually, one of the problems with it is that it works on those codes. So, text tires to 40404 doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people because it's not a telephone number. Now, there are some SMS marketing services that actually offer a telephone number instead. They mask that code. But what I've tended to do is make the initiation the other way round. So give us your phone number, on website, on Facebook, whatever, enter your phone number here, and we will send you a text. And then you just click reply.
Yeah.
And that's a much better,
Smart.
So if you make it easier for the end user, then you're going to remove barriers.
Nice. Well, and you certainly, we're not to the point yet where we're getting a tremendous amount, and thankfully so, we're not to the point where we're getting a tremendous amount of commercial texts yet in this country. Right. And so if you can get your customers to opt in for that kind of communication, you get to interact with them in a way where you don't have a tremendous amount of competition, certainly less so than you have in the email inbox.
Yeah. And it's in the book, one of the examples I've used several times, a company that I think does an extremely good job of SMS marketing is Victoria's Secret. They do a monthly push. Their sign up, when you sign up for their loyalty card, the people give the customers give their telephone number as part of it, and then they opt in to those SMS messages. And so they push coupons, they push the monthly offer, and they push when a product line changes. So you might get a total of one text message a month from them. And
I get a heck of a lot more catalogs than that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think they do it very, very well. And one of the interesting things that I've seen them do is they actually put their text message campaign on the storefronts where they haven't yet opened a store.
To sort of pre-seed the market?
Yes. So sign up to, text this to this telephone number, and we'll tell you when the store opens.
Brilliant. I love it.
So that's like, people want to, that's a reason. They've given me a reason. So it's, instead of the like us on Facebook and no call to action. Okay, that's not a call to action.
Yeah.
That's just asking you to do something. Tell me why I should like you on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a reason. Text this so that you know when we're actually opening.
Nice.
That's a great way to do that. Give me a reason to do this.
Last question for you. We talked about apps at the beginning. Do you think that the apps that fail, and I'm going to use fail as sort of lack of usage for a metric, do you think that most apps that fail, that they come from companies, is it because the app itself is not inherently useful, or is it that the app is poorly promoted?
I would say it's because the brand designed it for the brand's use and not the customer's use. So they came at it from the perspective of, what's our end goal? What do we want to do? Okay, well, what we want to do is we want to get people looking at our catalog. So we're going to build an app that is really just our catalog. Okay, well, I might look at that once, then I'm never going to use it again.
Right.
It doesn't do anything for me. And then the apps that work are the ones that fit with what I want to do. So I saw recently a clothing brand, and I'd actually been talking about this before somebody did it, and eventually I guess somebody had the same thought as me, surprise. But it's a clothing brand, but what they do is they tell you what the weather's going to be like, and they recommend things from your closet. So it's a closet organizing app. You take pictures of all the clothes you own, and you categorize them, and then it tells you what the weather is, and it suggests things from your closet that you might want to wear that day.
Brilliant.
That's a useful, that's something I might use every single day.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, we have one of these in our store that you might like. You can buy it now.
It's that notion of marketing so good that you'd gladly pay for it.
Right, exactly.
Terrific. Simon, you've been fantastic. Thanks so much for the insights. Congratulations on the new book, The Shorty Guide to Mobile Marketing. We'll link it up here underneath the video and the blog post. You can get it for yourself on Amazon, just $4.99. And I will see you around out there on the speaking trail one of these days.
Absolutely. Got to cross paths again soon.
You got it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.